When it comes to Animal Crossing New Horizons, it seems like after Burnout, a lot of players decide to sometimes start over to try to recapture the magic feeling the game had in the early days. But what if that feeling didn't have to stop after just a few months of playing? Sure, it's okay to start over, but I've always stood firmly in the belief that Animal Crossing is best played the longer you've been on your island. Don't get me wrong, in the early days, everything was exciting as Tom Nook was guiding you through on what to do, and then when you are left on your own accord, after a while, maybe those exciting feelings slowed down. Maybe nowadays you want an excuse to come back to your game, but you feel like you've done everything already. Okay, well, do you have every dream villager, flower, museum item, crop, fruit tree? Do you have the framed picture of all of your villagers? Did you finish decorating all of the rooms in your house, your villager's house, in that one section of the island you don't know what to do with? What about your catalog, Nook Mile rewards, your pathways, waterways, and creepy pathways? Do you even have an island theme? Listen, we got you. We came up with a list of 50 things you can do to never get bored in Animal Crossing again. I mean, sure, take a break, do your thing if you're feeling burnt out, but when you get that itch to return to Animal Crossing, or you're already still playing Animal Crossing regularly, here are the things that you can do. Number one, first things first, you gotta clean up your island. Before you can even get started on anything in this list, make sure you go through your island, tidy it up, make sure you're happy with the way things are, more or less. Pull those weeds out, pick up those items maybe you left behind, and then with that being said, we can actually get into the list. Okay, so conceptually here, you may have an easy time getting a 5-star island, but what if we pretended there was a higher level, like a 10-star island, like the most exclusive club for players who master the deep end game and spend weeks or months just going for the different things in this game. One long-term goal that a lot of players have been able to find a lot of replayability in the game is in dream villager hunting. Listen, if you've played the game long enough and you don't have 10 villagers that you absolutely love and adore, what are you doing? Evict the one villager you don't like and start the hunt to find that perfect villager to fill the void. You could obviously do the thought bubble hunt or get a cool villager at your campsite or even use amiibos to force a villager in. Remember, there's also 8 different Animal Crossing personality types across your villagers. This is definitely not something required if you don't like a personality type, but if you want full variety, you could always try to make sure you have one type of each personality represented. Once you get all of the villagers together that you want, I think it's time you go ahead and make them your best friends. If you don't have the framed photo of all of the villagers, you gotta step your game up. You gotta start giving them gifts, talk to them daily, do your thing. I don't have a single framed photo of any of my villagers, but my wife Sandy, look at this. She has them all right here. And then some even. Okay, what about flowers? Do you have every single flower? There are 9 different breeds of flowers in Animal Crossing New Horizons, and then there's hybrid versions of those flowers as well. You gotta go and breed your flowers to get all of the flower colors, and then put them on display. Make a cool garden, or spread them all across your island and show off that you've gotten every single flower in the game. Also, don't forget, in the Happy Home 2.0 update of Animal Crossing New Horizons, they added crops, so you can make tiny little gardens and make sure you have every single crop that's available in the game, and then from that you can also get the DIY recipes for food. Listen, have you created any cool stores or shops yet? You can either build like fake looking buildings using cliffs and other furniture items, or use like stalls and make little areas, but they could be a cool place to put DIY food recipes and decorate little areas to eat maybe. You could even go the pathway of getting a second villager, like on your Switch account, and make another house, get that all set up and whatnot, and then turn that second house into like a restaurant or a hotel and design it that way, which is something cool to show off to your friends. Also, how are your pathways looking? Are they cool? Are they functionable? Do you have a cool pattern on your pathway? You can always go into the design app and find some unique patterns made by the community or make your own and texture out your pathways to make it look completely unique. If you really wanted to take things a step further, you could try to make a cool design of your island to show up on the map screen of the game. I did this for a while. I made my entire island look like a cat face, and then I realized maintaining that was a pain, so I never kept it for very long. But some people have done some cool things. Okay, here's a big one, and probably the one thing that has kept me playing Animal Crossing New Horizons the longest. Come up with an island theme. Of course, you don't have to do this, but if you're really struggling, you could come up with one big theme to put across your entire island. You could do a city theme like I've done, or a a cottagecore theme, country theme, horror themed, carnival themed, pirate themed, fairy theme, or even a castle theme or something like that. There's so many options where you can do a mix of all of them and have different sections dedicated to different ideas. Heck, you can make an entire water-themed island if you wanted to. Just try to come up with something creative. Pick a single place and work on it. For instance, what does your entrance of your Animal Crossing island look like? This is the first impression if anyone comes and visits your town. Is it cool? Do you have something cool in display or something unique that makes it stand out? Even if you're working with just limited space, you can probably come up with something pretty awesome for this, so maybe think that through a bit. Also, how are your rivers doing? Your waterways? Are they annoying? Are they working well? You can always rework your waterways with your terraforming water permit tool or whatever it is and reroute your rivers if you need to. And when it comes to your cliffs, are they tedious? You could do what I've done on my island, where I went through and tore down every single cliff, making my island completely flat mostly, and then I would build up cliffs only where I wanted them to be. This one definitely takes forever because you have to cut down every tree and move everything off of the cliffs, but having a flat island does give you a little extra room to wiggle around it. Also, for the completionist people out there, maybe your museum could use a little bit of love. Now, you've probably donated a lot of stuff, but you probably won't find everything just playing casually, so maybe it's time you make a list of what you have, what you don't have, and then figure out where and when you can go and find certain critters. If something's out of season, you can always travel on Captain's boat for a chance at an out-of-season island and fill out your encyclopedia that way. And of course, fossils and underwater sea life are easier ways to fill out your museum first before going for the harder ones like bugs, fish, and paintings. On the topic of paintings, you could also make sure on a daily basis you travel to Harv's Island and see what Red has in store. Maybe you can pick up a painting that you didn't already have in your art collection. Just maybe double check that it's real and not fake first. Also, a big thing, if you're going for like a themed island and you want to like decorate things out, one big helpful tool is going to Cyrus on Harv's Island. Now you can get anything customized to any version available if you talk with him, and it's really nice when you're trying to like theme something together, being able to just get everything customized a cooler way than maybe what you have cataloged, and it just costs some bells instead of using up like customization kits or something else. Also, in general, beyond just pathways, if you go and download custom textures, you can do a ton of really cool things like stalls and put different things on top of those. You can even make your own custom textures if you're good with a computer, and then get the QR code for them and download them into your game themselves, making full-on custom textures. Now, if you are going to just fully go all in on Animal Crossing, you might need some bells. The turnip game, going hardcore in that, where you just make as many bells as you can and try to turn them around into turnips so you can sell and make a big profit. It's probably the best way to do it. We'll talk a little more about that later in the video, but definitely an option if you're trying to get to the point where you can start building out like crazy. Okay, Happy Home Paradise, super underrated. I feel like a lot of players just don't even think about this part of the game, but there's some incentive of playing through Happy Home Paradise. You'll get a second store that has furniture items and whatnot, which is great, but after you've played through a lot of Happy Home Paradise, you unlock the ability to order stuff from the catalog, which, while you have to use Poké to get it, gives you a whole collection of new furniture pieces that you weren't able to get as easily before. Also, with Happy Home Paradise, you eventually unlock the ability to decorate your own villagers' houses, and trust me, some of these guys need an upgrade. You can come up with something really creative or fun for that, and I think that that's also something maybe you could work on if you more are liking the interior decorating side of Animal Crossing. Now, we talked about overall themes, but you can also dedicate different sections of your island for different ideas. Then you can fill that area out based on whatever your idea was. You can even make a joke in one way or another. There's a few other ideas of things you can also put outside, like a movie theater or a coffee stand or maybe a bike lineup. I also like putting vending machines everywhere because I think it's funny. If you're on the collectionist grind, maybe you can try to consider collecting every single KK Slider song. You can request a song every Saturday and he'll give you the air check to it. So maybe pull out a list and go down the checklist of what songs you don't have. Maybe you can display them all on a wall in a house or something like that. While we're at it, set the long-term goal of cataloging just everything. It'll pay off later and incentivize you to participate in some of the things that go on in events, like June was wedding month. You can get some cool furniture items out of that. And if you're just trying to catalog things, it becomes less about picking and choosing what furniture items you want to use right now, and more just filling out your catalog so you have everything available. Now, if you're an advanced player, it's time to get active on Nookazon, where you can sell stuff to get, bells or Nook Mile tickets, or it can also help you get stuff that you really want for your island, and you can even technically trade villagers on there and get the dream villager that you maybe want. If you have shooting stars, maybe try working on getting all the horoscope furniture pieces. If you can make more than one, even better. You can always sell the extra one you get on Nookazon. If you're more into like the overall design of your island, maybe try some forced perspective stuff. Some people have made some really cool things in Animal Crossing on that. I've taken inspiration from others and did this cityscape on my island. There's a lot of other cool ideas out there. I'm sure you guys can come up with something awesome. If you got a few bucks to spend, you can try to order the Sanrio set. It was like those amiibo cards that were super rare at the beginning, but became more available as time went on. And you actually not only get access to some exclusive villagers, but there's furniture sets tied to those cards that are actually pretty rare and really cool and unique for your island. Okay, you might have an awesome island getaway, but what does it look like at night? Have you tried designing a little bit of stuff with lights and things to make your island pop off when it's nighttime? You could also try to come up with some mini games that you can play with your friends, whether it's things like treasure hunts or hide and seek, which can be really fun, surprisingly. You could even make a giant maze that you force your friends into that they have to figure out how to navigate. Whatever it is, those are also really cool islands to go and experience, so you can incentivize your friends to come and visit you. I don't feel like too many people utilize this. My wife Sandy does though quite a bit, but you can turn in 3 bugs or fish and get a figurine of the bug or fish, and then you can just put it on display wherever you want, and that's always really cool. Like, look at all of these. Okay, also, there's a really cool catalog of Nook Mile redemption furniture items that you can only get with Nook Mile points. They added a ton in 2.0, and these are really cool, but oftentimes really expensive. So while you're playing Animal Crossing, make it part of your daily routine to fulfill some of your Nook Mile daily activities, like the ones that pop up like doing yoga or going and getting coffee at the Roost. Not only will you also get unique encounters at the Roost with Brewster there and going there regularly, you end up racking up Nook Mile stuff, and you can in turn get some helpful things like outdoor storage or an ATM or just a really cool furniture piece. Is anyone out there working on completing their gyroid collection? I know gyroids weren't added until late in the game, but surely there's so many different types of ones out there. Someone out there has to be on that grind. And it's probably a fun grind, having to go and find the different types and then plant them and then see what you have and what you don't have. Now, if on the flip side, after watching this video, you still haven't been able to come up with a cool, unique idea to make your island stand out, you can of course go online and look up the tons of other videos of themed Animal Crossing islands out there, or you can actually get some cool dream addresses and go into your bed in the game, and then you travel to different dreams and you can go and explore people's islands individually on your own and see what they look like. Also, this is just a little side one, but I think it's worth noting here too. You should go ahead and try to collect all of the glowing things, like just have them out on your island at night. Palm lamps, hyacinth lamps, those are kind of hard to get actually, and mush lamps all look really cool on any themed island, so you can always go that route. And then also, you should get some eyebrows. That's it. You can get eyebrows for your character. Someone's done a custom design and they just go right over your eyebrows, and I don't know, I think they look good. Okay, this is probably the most controversial entry, so I kind of put it towards this part of the video. But you know what? Go ahead and time travel. Oh no, he said it. Listen, the way I see it is with Animal Crossing, there's a lot of things you can do. However, if you're getting at the point where the day-to-day waiting around for stuff to happen is starting to take a toll on you, and it's at the point where you'd rather not play the game, go ahead and let yourself time travel and live it up a little bit. No one should tell you how you can and can't play your game, especially a game that's like over 3 years old at this point, because there is a lot of enjoyment you can get by being able to do things a bit quicker, and you can accomplish a lot more obviously by utilizing time traveling in a more condensed amount of time. For instance, Festivale was one of the first times that I utilized time traveling because I'm trying to make this city island and I really wanted these stalls that had lights on them, and the only way you could get them was during the one day of the year, which is Festivale, or if they happen to show up in your store leading up to Festivale. So yeah, I time traveled and I didn't feel bad about it either, and I would run around and catch those feathers and try to get as many stalls as I could get. Now back then it was based on what color feather you had and which item you'd end up getting, and I only wanted the red Festivale stalls, so it was a pain. But since then, you can actually just change the color over at Cyrus, which makes it a whole lot easier. There's other days that you can also time travel to if you want to. They're shorter events, but they're still interesting, like Turkey Day. You can go and do the May Day maze again, and also, what if you miss a bug off or a fishing tourney? Go ahead and back up and go and participate in that. There's also, of course, the benefits of time traveling to get your dream villager. By using some time travel tricks, you can actually figure out which day a villager is set to request a move out and have like those thought bubbles above their head, and you can manipulate the time travel on that to cycle through which villager is asking to move out. Eventually, by time traveling often enough, you can force a certain villager to finally have the bubbles. You can get them out of your island. You can time travel a day forward or two to where you have the empty house, and then from there you can recruit a villager into your island by either using the Nook Mile tickets to keep going to islands until you find the villager you want, or use Nook Mile tickets on Nookazon to try to make an offer to someone who has their villager in boxes ready to move out, where you can then recruit them onto your own island. Also, if you're trying to design the overall layout of your Animal Crossing island, time traveling can also be a handy tool for making that perfect layout. If you're trying to relocate 10 houses, it can be a pain trying to just do one house at a time every day to move it out of the way, and then you have to move it back in the way. It can take a month just to move the properties all where you want them to be. That's not even including other locations like the museum or the Able Sisters or Nook's Cranny. Time traveling to move buildings, I feel like that's really not that big of a deal. Put those houses on the beach and clear as much space as you need, and then line them up the way that you want them. Okay, but doing things like this cost a lot of bells. How do you get a lot of bells? Well, we talked about turnips earlier, but also if you have a friend, you can time travel with your friend and optimize your turnip game. If you have one friend who has a high turnip price, you can just time travel to Sunday and buy your turnips, then travel straight to their island, sell the turnips, then go back to your island, buy some more turnips, go to their island, sell the turnips, and then like split the profits between the two of you. And it's not the worst way to make some bells, and then at least you have some capital to invest into your island to get to do all the fun things that are going to cost a lot, like moving every single building. There's other smaller benefits to being a hardcore time traveler. Like if you're really trying to just check off that list of all of the critters that you're trying to catch, you could time travel to the specific season or time that the certain bug or fish appear in. Also, if you're trying to order things from catalogs, you're limited to just 5 things a day, and then you have to wait the next day for them to actually come. Time traveling does let you expedite the process substantially, obviously, and you can pick things out and then immediately go right into the decorating phase. There's a few other good instances of time traveling, like there's a way to manipulate it so you know what day Gulliver will show up, and he gives you a rare item if you help him that you can only get through Gulliver. So time traveling and then going ahead and then time traveling back to the day Gulliver was there is not the worst idea, as you will at least be able to get more of his rarer items that you can't just catalog and order again easily. And then of course, time traveling also has the benefit with bridges and inclines when you're trying to quickly renovate your island and you're not trying to scale a mountain or leap across a river. You just want to be able to move more fluently. Now, of course, with time traveling, like I said, I think it's better you play through and experience Animal Crossing without time traveling at the beginning. But once you've gotten to the point where you're like, man, I wish there was more, then go for it and really experience just everything that the game has to offer at that point. But when you're done and you've finished up your projects, I do think it is beneficial to realign your clock and get yourself back on the regular day-to-day side of Animal Crossing and put yourself on the real time once again. Okay, a couple more things before we hit 50. Wow, we went through this quick. Make sure you take before and after pictures of your island or videos. You can use your little capture button on the Switch, and you can even record clips. You'll be really happy you have these down the road, and remember what your island once looked like versus what it now looks like after all the time and effort that you put into renovating and redecorating it and really fulfilling your game even more so. I'm just saying, I had taken some pictures and videos of my island over the years, and I was really happy I had those, but man, my island went through so many iterations that I never did even capture or record from way back in the day. So it's not too late. Start capturing stuff now and you'll be happy that you have it. Alright, But then, once you've gotten your island to the point where you feel like it is absolutely perfect, if that day could even come, I think you should, by all means, go ahead and show off your island on YouTube, post it on social media like Reddit or something like that, and share what your island has now looked like after all of your time. That's something I finally aimed to do, and I delayed it so many times because I never felt like my island was good enough, and still to this day I don't feel like it was 100% there yet. But it is very, very fulfilling knowing that one day you're going to share your island with the world and put it out there, and having that as the motivating factor, knowing you're going to make a video or something, putting together to showcase what your island looks like, it'll keep you playing the game a bit longer, because then you're going to feel like everything has to be perfect before the day you're willing to record. Maybe that's just me, but it definitely helped me stay engaged with Animal Crossing New Horizons for a long time. I knew well before I started this channel, which was almost a year ago now, I'd want to do Animal Crossing content one day, so I was always working towards that goal, and I only got around to making that video finally like a month ago. Still, you guys get what I'm saying here. All right, now be honest with me. Did these tips potentially help any of you guys come up with something or a goal to work on to keep you playing the game longer? Let me know what your thoughts were down below. Also, if you're new, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. We upload a new Animal Crossing video every week. I try really hard to make them really good and exciting, not just like filler videos or whatever. So, I don't know. I'm very proud of the content I make here, but I also am very humbled by the support that our community has as well. So, thank you guys so much for all the support. We'll see you guys all next time with another video next week.